Hi, and welcome to reading the X, or as we used to call it, Twitter privacy policy so that you don't have to. This segment is provided by Termageddon.com. We have generated and kept up to date tens of thousands of privacy policies and read thousands of privacy policies in the meantime as well. Please note that anything that we talk about today should not be considered legal advice. If you are looking for legal advice, you should speak to an attorney in your area. So, why is it important to read the X privacy policy? So, really, you should read the privacy policy of any services that you sign up for because privacy policies affect your privacy and your rights. So, privacy policies will say what information is being collected, what is done with that information, who it's shared with, whether it's sold, things like that, and what your rights are and how you can exercise those rights, which may have an impact on deciding whether or not you want to use a particular service. Now, the privacy policy that we'll be talking about today goes into effect on September 28th. So it's not what is in effect right now, it's the new update of the X privacy policy. So, what personal information does X collect? So, X collects a lot of personal information, as should come as no surprise. So, if you have a personal account, they will collect your display name, username, password, email address, or phone number, your date of birth, your language preferences, and third party sign in information. Third party sign in information basically means that if you use, for example, your Gmail to sign into Twitter, they will collect that information. If you have a professional account, they'll also collect your physical address, email address, and contact phone number as well. They do collect your payment information if you use your payment portal. They will also collect your preferences information, like what language do you prefer to see Twitter in. One important change from the privacy policy that comes into effect September 28th is that they will collect your biometric information. It's unclear as to when that biometric information will be collected and what information will actually be collected. So, biometric information could be fingerprints or iris scans that confirm your identity. What's really interesting about biometric information, what's scary about the fact that Twitter collects it, is the fact that biometric information cannot be changed. So, for example, let's say your email address is breached. You can easily just create a new Gmail account. That's really no problem. However, your biometric information, like your fingerprint or your eye scan, cannot be changed. So, if it is breached, that's a lot more dangerous. Twitter says that they will use that information for safety and security, but it's really unclear exactly how that information will be used. If you submit a job application or a recommendation for somebody to get a job, they will also collect your job history, educational history, skills and abilities, job search history, and engagement with particular job postings. They will also collect your activity on X, so like your posts, broadcasts, what communities you're a part of, what interactions you have with content from other users, what interactions you have with communications with X, information on links you interact with across X services, including emails. So if they send you an email, they'll know if you clicked on it or if you clicked a particular button within that email. They will also collect your information about your device. So, for example, your IP address, browser type, device ID, and operating systems. That part makes sense, but they will also collect your battery level. Not quite sure why that's relevant, but they do collect that. If you do choose to upload your address book, they will collect the information on that address book, and they will also collect your location information as well. They will also collect inferences about you. So, for example, they may associate your account with different browsers, or if you're interacting with X, like with different tweets, when you're not signed in to your account, they will make inferences about your identity. They will also measure how you interact with advertisements. So, for example, like what ads you clicked on, how long you watched an ad, things like that. How you interact with X content on third party websites. So, for example, if you go to a website that's not affiliated with X and it has a Twitter feed, when you interact with that feed, Twitter or X will get that information. And they may receive further information from ad partners, developers, publishers, account connections, and integrations. Not quite sure as to what that further information actually is, but it is being collected. Now, how is your information being used by X? So, first, they use the information to improve and personalize products and services, which makes sense. They also use it to show more relevant content and ads. They use it to train machine learning or AI models. This is a new addition and it's quite concerning as well, since a lot of AI models are currently unregulated and have privacy violations or may not be compliant with different privacy laws. So this would be concerning to a lot of privacy professionals. It's unclear which of your information is being used for machine learning or AI models as well. They also use that information to provide safety and security, like verifying your identity, authenticating accounts, defending against fraud and illegal activity. They also use information to measure effectiveness of their products or services, communicate with you, including sending marketing messages, and to conduct research, surveys, product testing, and troubleshooting. One issue here is that it's unclear what that research and surveys actually are and what information is being used for these particular purposes. Does X share your personal information? Yes, it does. So the information may be shared with the general public. So, for example, if you post a tweet and that information, and you made that tweet public, that tweet will be visible to everyone. They may also make your information available to other X users. So, for example, if you make a tweet, other users on the platform can see it. They also share that information with partners, which include advertising platforms such as Google and Facebook. They share it with advertisers, service providers, third-party content and integrations and APIs. They may also share information to law enforcement when required by law. And they also share information with affiliates like TweetDeck, Vine Archive, TwitPic Archive, and Scroll. And they may also share your information if somebody buys X. So if somebody buys the platform, your information will be available to the buyer. What's a bit frustrating about the X privacy policy is that it includes a ton of links. So you have to click through all of these links and look through 50 pages to actually understand the privacy implications of using the platform, which is definitely frustrating and takes a lot of time. Does X sell your personal information? So, apart from a sale of X itself, the privacy policy says that they do not sell personal information under any other circumstances. So, the only circumstance in which X may sell your personal information is that they sell X in total as well, and then the buyer gets your personal information. What privacy rights does X provide? So X says that your privacy rights can be exercised through your account. So you can access the information that they've collected about you. You can ask them to correct your information. So, for example, you can correct your name or email address. The right to portability, which means that you can download all of your activity and information on X in a way that can be ported over to another platform. You have the right to delete your personal information, and then the right to withdraw consent to certain uses of your personal data. What's interesting here is that I tried to exercise my right to access for the first time a couple days ago on X. I was able to easily find that on my account where to do that, but the moment I try to exercise my right, I received a message saying that I reached the limit of text messages that I can receive from X, which is a little bit interesting because I've never asked X to send me text messages and I've never gotten text messages from them. So I'm not quite sure how I have reached my limit of text messages from them, but that's a little bit interesting. So if any of you have had the same issue, would love to hear your thoughts and your experiences with that as well. And then lastly, how long does X actually store your data? So they say that they store personal information for as long as it's necessary to keep your profile and account active. And then they store other personal data for a maximum of 18 months, but they may keep that information longer if needed for safety, security, and legal requirements. What's interesting here is that they don't actually state how long they keep your biometric data, which is a little bit concerning here, that there's no further information on these biometric data that X collects. So yeah, so that's the privacy policy of X for when it goes into effect on September 28th.